The annual budget is required to be submitted to the Ministry of Education by the end of June. And then that's our initial funding that we'll see for September. Then in September, once the children come back to school, we do a count of the enrollment, and we submit that enrollment count to the ministry at the end of September. Then from that, they update their funding announcements in December, and we prepare what's called an amended annual budget based on our actual enrollment and our actual staffing. And so that's a cycle that's a continuous cycle throughout the years. That starts with our best guess in February as to what our enrollments are going to be next fall, and then flows into funding and our analysis of that revenue and expenses related to that funding. And then we go from there every year, over and over. Overall, we're projecting this year another balanced budget, which is great news. We, with the 200 additional students that we're projecting for September, we'll see increased revenue of around $3.6 million. But of course, with additional students, there's additional expenses. So right now we're projecting additional expenses of around $3.5 million. So we have a small surplus of around $50,000 at this point, but we're looking at a balanced budget. Which is really good news. We're not in the position of some other districts that are around us of having to look at cutting some programs and services. So we're very pleased about that, to be able to maintain our existing programs and deliveries. But with the additional students, we're looking at about another $1 million in staffing that's required to support those students. We also have some other cost pressures around space. We may be looking at needing to add some portable classrooms. We're also looking at, of course, with increased staff comes increased benefits, increased other expenses. Additionally, just last week we saw some revised legislation around benefit provision and additional 5 days of sick leave. So that's going to add another $400,000 in cost pressure to our expected budget. And so, but the really good news is that the increased revenue that we're seeing from the students, we're able to cover off all those cost pressures that we're anticipating. So, you know, we're in a really good position as far as status quo and being able to cover everything, but we're not in a position, unfortunately, to where we can have a robust conversation with our stakeholders and partner groups around other things. If we were in the position, what else we would like to add. So where we're currently at is we've convened what's called a budget advisory committee. So that includes partner groups of the district, employee groups, as well as trustees and finance staff. So we've had our first couple of budget advisory committee meetings. We've looked at the ministry funding announcement and the projections from the ministry as far as revenue. We've looked at our cost pressures, and we're just in the process of analyzing all of the different input that we have so far. And then we'll, in early May, we'll build a draft preliminary budget, and we'll present that to the board in May, and then hopefully we'll have the board support our budget estimations at the May board meeting on May 24th. So we're in the stage right now of gathering information. We're looking for input into the district's current circumstances. We're providing information to the public and to partner groups for their consideration and any thoughts or recommendations that they have, which we'll take into consideration as we finalize the budget.